Welcome back to Saving Ophelia. This time I'm going to be remaking, mounting and connecting the power box that I messed up in the previous episode. So there's going to be quite a bit of work done in the workshop before I move the box to Ophelia and get it mounted. So while I was sulking after having messed up the box and having to do it over, I decided to go remove the panel because then I can get everything done in the workshop. Oh, maybe I better pull the plug before I start doing anything here, because there's power going to the backside. It just doesn't pass into any other circuits. There we go. Now I do have options. I can either take off the panel or just take the entire thing back home. Either will do, I guess. It seems that the panel dictates that I bring it all along, because this screw is done for. Yeah. The slit is completely gone. Oh well. And having cut those wires leaves me with a bit of an issue, because if I plug in the cord for the land power, the shore power, well, then these are hot. And while they aren't exactly exposed, that wouldn't be a good thing. They could still touch something. So I guess I need to solve that in some way. I think I have an idea. I should have brought a small screwdriver, but this is what I've got. Then, yeah, that will work. I'll just plug those leads in here with their isolation and everything in place. Then they should be quite secure. There we go. So, with the control panel back in the workshop, I guess there's no getting around it. I need to get back to building that box. which really annoyed me because messing that up, I should have seen that coming. It was such a stupid mistake. But anyways, when I took the box apart in the usual gentle way, only using the hammer a bit, I think I said as much. I had some tear out. You can see there's a chunk missing. And if I turn this piece around, well, then I have some extra material here right next to where another chunk is missing. And I think all of the 8 ends look like that. So I need to recut those. I just realized that I didn't measure the inside dimensions that were needed. I only measured the outside of the box. So maybe, yeah. See, I had this, the one measurement was 16 centimeters, the other 19. If I measure on the inside here, well, then I only need, well, 14 centimeters would be enough. Oh, and this sticks out a bit, so I might need a bit more, but that doesn't put me above 15. 15 would be plenty. So 50 on one side, and well, 13 would be plenty on the other side. So I don't think I need the box quite as big as I thought. I could reduce it and just go for a square box. A square box might be good enough. That means I could just put up an end stop here on the saw, and then cut all 4 pieces to equal length, and I'd be done with it. That should decrease the chance of me messing something up. I think I'll do that. In order to avoid messing up though, I think I'll do a test cut. I have this piece that I cut the other ones from, and seeing that it's ruined anyway, there's a big screw hole here. If I just do a test cut, that'll be lost of course, but that'll tell me if my measurements hold up so I don't end up with something that won't work again. So I'll do that. So that's one of the shorter ones to go. That should be plenty. Of course, I'm not going for any specific measurements. I just wanted to, well, I want them to be the same. Well, this time around at least. Now to check that measurement. Oh, that'll give an internal size of, well, 18 centimeters, and seeing that 15 would be plenty, that should be enough. And then some, which is good. Well, they still aren't exactly the same because, well, we knew that the first cuts weren't that great. And as some of you have commented, I probably need to adjust the saw if possible. Still think I'm gonna try to get these opposite one another, the painted ones and the not painted ones. And let's see if things works out. Oh, I think I'm gluing outside of the frame. Better get you part of this. That should be plenty. This is just ordinary PVA glue, so it should be perfectly skin safe. Which is why I'm just using my fingers. It's even fun to peel off when it's dried out a bit. Found that funny as a kid, and I still do. Some things you just never grow out of, I guess. I'm squishing it out because I want to make sure I get a good bond. If I just let it stay in the stripes and put it on it, well, there might be some parts of the surface that aren't really covered with glue, and well, then it won't be glued together. It'll just stick because of the glue around it, and I want this to be, well, solid. I was just thinking, I have these cargo straps lying around. Maybe they could be used for this instead. That should give an equal pressure all the way around. Well, it's far from a perfect solution, but I guess it'll do. Especially if I add another one on top here. Well, there's plenty of squeeze out, it seems, and the corners line up nicely. Well, as nice as it could get. So I'll just leave that to dry. This time though, I do have something to do other than just wait for the glue to dry. See, the reason I took the entire panel along was that I couldn't get this one screw out. It's a brass screw and it's stripped. I'm not sure I could just tear it out, because if I do that, then I might just wreck the plastic around here, and I wouldn't want to do that. So, wonder if I have, well, I don't think I have a screwdriver that can do this. I don't think this one will be able to grip it. No. I could, of course, grab the screw extraction kit, but that's for quite a lot bigger screws than this. So again, I think I'll just ruin everything if I try to do that. Maybe the best option is just to cut it. Go in with a multi-tool and then cut it from below. I could probably just pull it out, but yeah, I don't want to ruin this any more than I already have. There we go. Yep, that did cut that screw. So that's the panel with the glass that I cracked, but it still works. Guess, well, the next job will be to, measure out where I need to cut, how big a hole I need to make in the panel, well, the wooden panel that this is going to be mounted in. And I already know that this dimension is 14 centimeters and a bit. If I go, we have this one extending a bit, so if I go like 15, that should be plenty, and the other way. Well, 13 centimeters should be more than enough, so 14, 13 and a half. Yeah, that should be. So 13 and a half times 15. That's the hole I'm going to cut. But what should I cut them into? Well, I think I'll use this, quite similar to the one I'm using as a worktop here, but it's a bit longer and narrower. Also a bit thinner, actually. And it's plenty wide. I have 25 centimeters. And the box I'm gluing up has an outside length of, well, let's see. 21.5 centimeters. So that fits easily. And I can place this hole somewhere in the area I'm cutting. So shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. Now, 21.5. Now what? I think I'll wait until the box is dry before I do anything else, because right now I'm just transferring measurements by measuring, and it's probably better to put the box itself on and use that to draw the lines. So I'll do that. I'll wait for this to dry. While I wait though, I could peel some of that glue. See? Comes off almost like a second layer of skin. Yeah, found this very enjoyable as a kid, and well, I still do. And should never forget to enjoy the small things. So let's unwrap this monstrosity and see if it worked. Seems to have worked just fine. Well, yeah, I'm not exactly good friends with these straps. They don't ever want to do as I want them to. Oh well, it did cooperate this time. Yeah, they've gotten slightly stuck, but it doesn't seem that the glue bites for real to this nylon stuff. No, doesn't. Anyway, that was one. And the other one. Might have worked better with the plastic bag around the corners, but the glue doesn't stick for real, so not an issue really. Just a slight annoyance. Yeah, that does seem quite solid. So then we just need to mark the back plate. Or the front plate. I guess I need a piece of wood either side, really. Seems just about a perfect fit. This gonna be like 1.5 centimeters this end and 2 at the other. So not an issue. And then I just need to cut off the end so that it fits, which means that placing it here would be kind of silly, wouldn't it? That leaves 2 smaller pieces that are, well, useless. Oh, you can't see that right there. Let me show you. There we go. So if I cut it here, that leaves this entire piece useless. And if I cut here, this piece, so that would be kind of silly. It's like we teach the kids at school, if you're going to cut a piece of paper, cut near the edge. And I'd best take my own advice here. Except that does leave this hole, but let me see. Was it that fuse box was like 5 centimeters deep? It's only this much. And then, oh, I haven't got the connectors right here, but I do have one on the floor. That's a smaller one, but almost similar. That's only 3.5 centimeters deep, so that will be somewhere around here. So that would leave this entire piece usable, which I guess is good enough. I can actually fashion the front side from that then. So I have a back side and a front side made from the same piece. Not too bad. Yeah, I just noticed that I missed something. I didn't really need to make these joints because I was afraid that I might hurt myself on these sharp edges, and they are quite sharp, but they're not going to be exposed. They're going to be hidden behind the panel. There's going to be something electrical here and something here, which is going to be hidden behind the front panel as well. So there's no way I'm going to be able to hit these. So I didn't really need to make them roundable. I could have just screwed them together. But, oh well, I guess some practice is always a good thing. And by moving things around, I of course ruined the placement again. But there's a 5 centimeters, but then if I don't want the fuse to poke out, not entirely at least, let's say 5.5. Then, well, we have plenty on this side. What was it? The measurement was like 3.5. So 3.5 from here should be around. There we go. That would be the line I need to cut along. Oh. Might as well move this. And again, just like everything else, this doesn't need to be overly precise. And it probably isn't. It does look a bit crooked here. I wonder if this angle here is actually still 90 degrees. Oh, it's been bent. It might not be too perfect. Yeah, I've been losing the older part of my family left and right for the last couple of years, so I inherited a lot of stuff, and I hadn't really had the chance to use it before now. So I'm not entirely sure what the condition of a lot of the stuff is. I'll find out along the way. There we go. Now, what's the best tool to cut that? That would probably be the table saw after all. It's only 25 centimeters, so there shouldn't be too much of a drift. I was really planning on installing the fence again, but the fence was pretty useless, so I think I'm just gonna freehand it. Well, we obviously don't have smell-o-vision here, but there's quite a smell of burning here, so yeah. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it's quite dark, so it seems that the blade might be getting a bit dull. Or maybe I just didn't push the board through correctly. Either way, it's now cut and they are similar enough. If I really wanted them to match perfectly, I could use a router bit to make them exactly the same, or just put them double here and then cut them again, but no point in doing that. And I was just thinking maybe I'll cut a few strips off this and put them on the back side against the glass fiber wall in the boat, because then the electrical wire from the outside can run through a hole here and then down and into the box. Then we have a loop that any water that would come in that way would go to the end of that loop and drip off. This would be down, and then drip off, and then the wire would go back up and in. That should make absolutely sure that no water would get on the inside of the box. Well, I decided to cut those strips straight away because then I have everything in place. But I don't want my fingers getting that near to the blade, so I think I'll use the fence. And again, things don't need to be exactly straight. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that, but I invited a kind of a mishap here. I messed up. I didn't pull the wood through consistently enough and actually let it lift. I think the fence might have hit it from the camera, but it got up a bit, and then when it was forced back down, it almost kicked back. And that's a really stupid thing to do. So I need to push it through consistently. Not fast, well, the actual speed doesn't matter, but I need to be consistent, and I need to keep it forced down against the table while I push it through the saw, so it can't do that kickback. And then of course step aside, so if I do have a kickback and the wood comes flying, it won't hit me in the gut. Either way, I got my sticks, my spacers. I actually got 3 of them because I wasn't sure that this one would be too useful, so I cut another one. So now I have plenty. There we go. That should be all the pieces. Oh, no, I'm missing the big one. There we go. That should be all the pieces. Now, if I really wanted these edges completely flush, I could cut them with the table saw again and just run it over the blade like that and just trim off a couple of millimeters at the edge, and that would leave them completely flush. Assuming, of course, that the fence is adjusted correctly. But that should be doable as well, but I don't think there's much point. The difficult part was making these joints, and that worked out. Now I just need to mark up the hole that needs to be cut for the panel itself. If I enter the boat from up here, then this being pointed towards the companionway would probably be a good thing. So that means this area needs to go. And the easiest way to do that would be with a jigsaw. Just drill a hole in one corner and then jigsaw it out. Yeah, I ended up with 4 holes for no reason other than that makes it quite easy to just cut between these holes and that's it. And well, it won't be visible anyway, so just for these. Then I don't, otherwise I would need to turn with a jigsaw to get around. Now I just need to cut straight lines. Makes things a bit easier. Yeah, they don't. Seems that I cut it a bit too close. So, we'll need to do some more cutting. So I had a small oopsie, a little bit of a miscalculation. Well, not really calculation because I didn't think about it. See, these 2 screws out here are fine. I can get to those anytime. But these are halfway behind the panel, which means I can't get to them without screwing out this panel, which means I can't take off the front of this box without removing the panel first, which is kind of a dumb thing, but that's the way it's going to be. If this was a permanent thing, I would definitely fix this, but this is going to be temporary anyway, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. Now I just need the outlets here and the fuse box on this side, but really the fuse box isn't really needed. I can fix that later. So I just need the outlet here, then I can mount it in the boat. You might notice how the outlets are now magically in place and wired up. Unfortunately, I seem to have lost the recording where I connect the switch, meters and outlet and discuss how things are wired together inside the box and why it's done the way it is. But I guess that just means that I have some explaining to do at another time. I hope you enjoy these videos and I'd like to hear any feedback you might have in the comments. If you feel like supporting the creation of these videos and the restoration of Ophelia, you can do so on my Patreon or by signing up as a member of this channel. Either way, thank you for your interest in my project. So I think we'll place it around here. And then, yeah, of course I forgot my pencil. Let's see. And that should work with the box on the other side as well. So I think I'll just drill through here. I think that'll be good. Let me show you. So right there, next to the companionway, and access to power here. So that should be good. Now to make sure that it stays where it's supposed to. And now we have a minor miscalculation again, because I thought that these screws would be long enough to penetrate through that wall, but they're not. They go through the glass fiber into the wood, but they don't poke through on the other side. Still need this piece here though, because then I have somewhere to fasten this, but I need to find some other way to fasten the box on the other side. Yeah, I'll take the front off the box and then mount it with screws straight through the back of the box here and into that wall. That should do it. And well, we do have a bit of movement in the placement now, which is also a good thing. The other placement will also work with the screws through, but well, there's a bit more freedom here. Maybe I shouldn't fasten the panel just yet. Maybe I should just make sure that the electrical parts work before I fasten it. I think I'll do that, because otherwise I'll have to take everything apart again. Now I'd better secure this. Actually, when I took this off, it turned out that the neutral was broken in here, which explains why I had a bit of a sketchy connection. Sometimes there would be neutral, other times there wouldn't. Without a neutral, well, you won't have power. There we go. There we go. I think I'll make a bit of a roof, a little lip or something here to make sure that we don't get this full of water again. I think water in the electrical system is really such a good idea. Now let's see if we've actually got power. Oh, we do. What do you know? Then I just need to make this panel stick. It's basically just putting the screws back in. So now we have 220 volts on the boat, and we've completely bypassed the old electrical system, which means, well, I don't risk that messing things up. So that was it for this time, I think. I wanted to show you something else though. I don't think we have, well, we don't have the time. See, I wanted to rip through that wall and show you what the hole looks like behind there, and then I'd like to start speculating as to why it looks like it, because my theory right now is that you will find some dents, some fairly big dents in the hole behind that wall, but we'll get around to that next week then.